Hello there. I'm going to go teach you the snatch. The snatch to me is probably the most athletic exercise that there is with the kettlebell. But before you even think about snatching, there's a few steps that you must be able to perform before you can get to the snatch. The first thing is if you have any issues with your shoulders, if you have tightness within your chest area, your shoulders, you have a hard time reaching up over your head, I do not recommend the snatch. If you have a hard time getting your bicep by your ear, getting your arm back here, feeling your scapular area retract, I do not recommend the snatch unless you're working with a professional, and make sure you do not hurt yourself. This is the one exercise where if you do it improperly, you're going to hurt your shoulder. So I'm going to teach you how to do the snatch to prevent you from doing that. The first thing is you better be able to know how to deadlift. If you can't deadlift, you shouldn't even be able to lift it. You should not even be able to. You shouldn't be lifting a kettlebell off the ground. Okay. But before we even get to the deadlift, let's make sure we have the proper grip on the kettlebell. You do not want to hold the kettlebell too loose where it's just dangling in your fingers. You also don't want to manhandle it and squeeze the heck out of it. By doing that, it's not going to allow the kettlebell to naturally flip over your wrist. So what I like to do is I think about getting my calluses pretty much against the handle. And I also like a little bit of a hook grip. Okay, or keep the wrist stiff. What you don't want to do is have the wrist bend back, so it looks like this. So have the wrist stiff or a little bit of a hook grip. Keep this wrist stiff. Do not squeeze. Do not manhandle it. Okay, but keep the wrist stiff. And think about resting right against your calluses. And for me, I kind of get my palm and I kind of just press down a little bit on it, but I do not kill the grip. I also like the thumb out to the side. What will end up happening is as you go to pull and you go to punch, that thumb will naturally rotate around it and come around. I find by having the thumb out to the side, it'll help you not to manhandle it, not to squeeze the heck out of it, and give it a better rotation. If you feel more comfortable with the thumb around it, just make sure the wrist doesn't bend. Make sure it stays straight or even hook it a little bit. All right, so that's the grip. That's the most important point. You do not want to kill the grip, or else that kettlebell is going to be standing up. And when it comes down, it's going to whack you right in the back of the wrist, and it's not going to feel pretty good. And it's also going to, as it hits it, it's going to hurt your shoulder. We should know how to deadlift. Always a good proper deadlift position. Before I even get into the snatch, I'm going to teach you the high pull. To me, first learn the high pull, the snatch comes right from that. The high pull is basically just pulling the elbow up and back. You have somebody that's taller than you on your shoulder, bothering you, harassing you, elbow them right off you. Whack, get off me. Get off me. You notice it, the elbow's coming up, it's coming back. I'm working my back muscles. I'm getting the person off me. You can see a little bit of a rotation. My chest, through my chest at the kettlebell. My hips are extended into the kettlebell. Remember, we always start from the bottom up. Push your feet through the ground. Finish it off with the hips. Whack. Whack. Does that make sense? I like using the word whack. Get the heck off me. All right? The snatch, what's going to happen is, and this is the vertical snatch, as you're coming up, instead of going back, you're coming up, your elbow's naturally going to go back a little bit. Your stabilizers, your back muscles are naturally going to contract. But what's going to happen is, as you're coming up, you're just going to take the back of your hand, you're going to go right through the ceiling with a punch. So you're pulling up as high as you can, and then you just continue to punch it through the ceiling. This is an explosive exercise. You cannot think about it. Pull, then punch. No, you're going from the ground straight to the ceiling. Think about putting a hole through your ceiling. Trust me, it won't happen. Okay? So think about keeping the kettlebell close to you, keeping the elbow tight, pulling up, getting your hips into it, and just driving it straight up and punching the ceiling as hard as you can. Do not squeeze the handle. If you do, that kettlebell is not going to want to rotate. It's going to be standing up like this, and then it's going to come down, and it's going to whack you right against your wrist. All right? Give you an idea. Watch this. Here's the high pull. You see how the kettlebell naturally flips? It's naturally going to flip. What's doing it is my back muscles. My back muscles are strong enough, they are pulling. I'm not pulling with my hand, I'm pulling with my back. Think about taking your elbow and pulling it. Think back here. The kettlebell will naturally flip. See it from the side here. Now all I got to do is punch right through the ceiling. See it from the front. Think high pull, high, then punch. High, then punch, punch the ceiling. Push your feet through the floor, finish with your hips and a punch. High pull, see the kettlebell want to come up, punch. Sometimes a good thing to do, think about doing high pull, snatch. Think about getting up higher and higher each time. You can see that the kettlebell wants to come over. It wants to come over, I'm just finishing with a punch. Think of this, I'm explaining this to you, not doing a lot of reps. You can hear me breathing a little heavy. This is an awesome full body cardio workout. Do not overtrain with the snatch. I love this exercise, I have a tendency to do too many. On a heavy day, on a strength day, remember, no more than 5 reps. A good thing to do is do ladders. 1 rep, 1 rep. 2 reps, 2 reps. Work your way up to 5. Pause in between, rest, whatever you need. On a light day, do 25 reps. See if you can do 50 reps in one arm, 50 reps in the other arm, total of 100 reps in 5 minutes. Okay, that's another challenge that's out there. The first one, the snatch. Try not to snatch more than twice a week. If you do it 3 or 4 times a week, I have a tendency to do it 3 times a week. Listen to your shoulders. Listen to your shoulders. As you're learning this, your shoulders should not be tired. If anything, it should be your legs, your back muscles. If you're feeling the front of your shoulder, trust me, you're pulling it wrong. You're doing it wrong. I mean, pulling it wrong because you're pulling in front of you and you're pulling with your hand. It's not this. It's keep it close. Keep it close. Think about keeping the kettlebell as tight as you can. Almost like you're going to take your hand to the floor and you go right against your chest. Okay, going right against your chest, hips going into, you see that rotation, and then just continuing straight up. And you'll feel it in your scapular area. You might even feel it in your obliques. Why a little bit of rotation? It's up here. Stabilizers have to kick in. They're going to tighten up. Last one. I'm going to go high pull, snatch. High pull, snatch. If you have issues with your posture, come to the ground every time, stand back, regroup. You don't have to hit the ground every time. You can kind of come from a hanging position. Let's do it from a hanging, almost like you're going to do a swing. And you notice when I come down, I'm tight. I'm not out here. Stay tight. First learn how to deadlift, learn how to high pull, and then you got the snatch. You can do it. Make sure, listen to your shoulders. Make sure they're not barking. If you have issues with your shoulders, Talk to a professional before you do this. Somebody who knows what they're doing. See if they know how to lift the kettlebell. Watch them train other people. This looks like the people that they're training know how to lift the kettlebell. If they can't lift it, and their clients can't lift it, and they have a problem exercising with the kettlebell, the last thing you want to do is work with that person, because all you're going to do is hurt yourself. Ask the questions that you need to be answered. Protect yourself. Keep looking at the video. Don't get misguided by pictures. A lot of times, if you broke this down, you're going to see the kettlebell here. And then what ends up happening is you think you got to swing it out here. Think about staying tight, close, keeping that elbow in. And I'm doing more of a vertical lift coming up. The power snatch would be more from here instead of up here. But it's the back muscles that's getting that thing to kick over. Okay? So think about staying tight, taking in, explode with the hips. If I did more of a power snatch, it wouldn't look like it's coming up high. It would almost look like I'm doing a swing, but I'm not swinging it out. Staying tight with the elbow, the hips, the back muscles, the momentum is taking the sucker right over my hand. So it's not banging. That's a snatch. Mags up. You like when I get close, huh?